Welcome back to another episode of the Cinematographer 101 podcast. We have another great episode today. We are joined by Fred Fournier, a French editor based in London with about 15 years of industry experience, more or less, with 18 feature films under your belt? Sorry?
22.
22 feature films, I stand corrected. And working across Avid, DaVinci, Premiere Pro, After Effects.
Yeah, well, I kind of stopped using the Adobe ecosystem.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm very, very happy about it.
Fair enough. And obviously, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to start with your background in music and score and editing, like sound editing, because I think that's where your journey started.
Exactly. Yeah. I started just by being a musician, playing in bands. I was living in Dublin at the time. I did few recording sessions. Absolutely loved the back end of it. So I was kind of working in studios, making coffees, learning how to mic, how to set up the mics, how to rig, what's a compressor, what's the whole thing. And I really, really loved it. So after that, I started to do a bit more audio editing, like editing, music. But then with some friends, we did a company that made radio play. That's short stories that I would record and then edit, do sound design and all that. That was amazing. Did 108 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was cool. And then little by little, I just started editing. My first editing was very just fell onto my lap. Like I was living with a friend, and he shot a little monologue of one of his story, and he just asked me if I could transfer the footage from his camera to my computer to have it digitalized. And when I was transferring it, I just started editing it without even knowing it, thinking, it'd be funny if I put that there, or it'd be funny if I do that.
Yeah.
And so the next day, my friend came up and he asked me if it all was transferred, and I said, yeah, actually I did a cut, like look what I did, I think it's funny. He looked at it and he went, that's not my story, but it's way better. Like it's great.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And so we started making more and more of these like DV cam short films, but we did like 40 of them in 5 years, something like that. And then we went up more into more professional. You know, when a Red camera came out, we started filming on that, and etc. And I was at Cannes Film Festival. We went there, I went there about 9 times, and I just met a producer. And when I said that I was an editor, he went, well, I just shot 3 films. Like, if you're looking to get cutting, there's my card. So as soon as I arrived came back to London, I gave him a call and set up an interview 3 days after I arrived, and I started cutting my first feature. Yeah. And it's during that process, during the first feature film that I cut, that's when I really realized how much I love editing. Like it's, if you want the little story, it's I was cutting a scene, and it's the protagonist, first time they meet each other in the story, they fall in love, and etc. And so I was cutting that scene, and I did an okay edit, like it was fine, showed it to the director at the end of the day, and he was like, yeah, totally fine, move on. But I had something in the back of my mind. I was really like, there's something missing, and I just couldn't figure out what. And I was working at Pinewood at the time, so like 2 hours journey one way, 2 hours journey the other way. And during this 4 hours travel, I was like really like, what is it? What's missing? And it's on the next day, in the morning, on the way back, I went, I got it. And so I run out of the train, run to the office, didn't even make a coffee. I just went right away, turned on my Avid. And all I did was just adding 2 little close-ups. Like the first time they see each other, like she was drinking tea, so she turns around. And I just added a close-up that I actually stole from another part of the scene because they didn't have the close-up. And did a close-up of him, so I created a connection. You have the two protagonists that, first time they see each other. Just by adding that little close-up, I added a connection. And I didn't change anything of the scene after that. It really changed the scene because me creating that connection in the edit changed the whole dynamic of the scene because now it was all about them, not about their little business or where's my car and etc. I created a connection and that's when I really understood that, that's what I want to do forever. Yeah, because it was just that little thing, like understanding what's needed or what's missing in a scene was really really made that scene instead of just being hi, this is John, Sarah, blah blah blah. I created something, and I was really really proud of that, and that's when I really understood that I really love editing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And from what I remember you telling me when we first met, you had also had a period where you started as an assistant editor, or because you did Aeronauts as a editing supervisor. No,
I was lab manager. Yeah.
So you've kind of been around the department as well. So
yeah, well that's one thing. It's I really truly believe that knowing what every job is on a film set or in post-production makes me a better editor because I understand why they do things a certain way, and also I can foresee mistakes, I can foresee things. If a shot is overblown, or if they cross the eye line, or if the sound's not usable at all, very early I can understand and I can see, we're gonna have a problem here. Yeah. And so I've been a script supervisor, a sound recordist, a boom operator. I've been a spark on a big short film, shot on 35 millimeters.
Yeah.
For example, that experience, it was a 3-day shoot, and it was big production, and I was with an amazing team. I was just carrying cable and etc. But the head spark really took me under his wing, and really taught me why do you place a light that way? Why do you have a rim light? Why do you have this? Or what is a gobo? What the use of it, Philip? And I thought that was really, really interesting. And now when I look at footage, the dailies, the first day, I can immediately see that's great, or that setup is very weak, so I'm better not use that too much. I really doing all these posts on production and post-production. I really believe makes me a better editor.
And turning to DPs, because obviously you predominantly work with the director and the producer, but when it comes to DPs, what does, for young filmmakers out there, especially those wanting to go into editing or cinematography, what does an editor need from a DP?
Pictures. For an editor, the most important thing is the story. So it's great if I have a lot of extremely beautiful shots, etc. But if they don't help the story, to me, they're nothing.
Yeah.
They're eye candy that I can use maybe 1 out of 10. So the most important thing for a DOP to me, it's telling the story with the camera, moving the camera when it's important, doing accentuation when it matters. To me, that's what I look for. Like, I have another story about that if you want.
Go for it.
Like, it's one of the first short film I edited, and like it was a really good story and etc. It's a guy who goes on his first date, and the girl doesn't show up. Well, she turns up later, but so the first scene was the guy getting prep, in front of his mirror, like a monologue. It was nice. But then after, when he gets into the pub, the director and the DoP, they made that amazing shot. Like, it was fantastic. It's the protagonist comes into the pub, and there's amazing 360 movement showing that the pub is busy and etc. And it lands perfectly of the protagonist arriving at the bar, to order a drink. Like, it was an amazing shot. But that shot was 47 seconds long. It's a minute. You can't have on a short film, 1 minute shot that tells a guy went into a pub, the pub is busy, he's gonna order a drink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and it really, like, it broke my heart, but I had to cut into it. Because you can't, like, it's, you have that nice beginning, you're invested with the character and etc. And then for a minute, it's means nothing. Like, it's just, he gets into a pub, the pub is busy, he orders a drink. So that totally kills the flow. And that was a huge battle.
Yeah.
Because obviously the director, like, it was like, that's my Scorsese shot. It's like, oh, I love it. And it was an amazing shot. It was great. But it told nothing to the story. And it broke my heart to cut it. But it was extremely necessary.
And did you try and show the director, like, with and without? Just because obviously I'm sure they would have tried to advocate for keeping it for artistic purpose. But then I'm guessing you would have had to show him why it doesn't work practically versus,
Absolutely. Well, that's a process in editing. It's the assembly process. In the assembly, you put everything in. The script is your Bible. All your rushes, you try to show everything, every setups and etc. if you can. All these long shots like that, you put them in. So like this, you see what's that's what execs in big studios. That's what they want to see. They don't want to see. They don't want to spend their money just for 3 shots. You know what I mean? But then knowing that after in the editing stage, you're gonna be ruthless, and you're gonna cut everything. But you always show everything first. The way I do it, it's I try to be very diplomatic about it. The way I do it, it's I show him like his shot, but I already have prepared my version, and so I raise the problem when I have a solution, not just because there's a problem. Like, I go like, that's great, it's a beautiful shot, but look at the clock. You're 5 minutes in, and on the script you're 3/4 of page 2. There's a problem here. And then I'll go, but there's my solution, and then I show them my cut, and usually that's when they start crying because they realize he's right, but that's my shot. Which is like it's. I mean, it breaks my heart. Like, I don't enjoy doing that, but it's necessary. And the main thing of any film is the story. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a DOP's showreel.
Now, I know your process mostly happens at the end of a film, but if we take you back all the way to the beginning, I think it'd be interesting to see sort of your prep and your influence on the film, even in pre-production, in regards to like how you affect sort of shot lists and stuff. Like, when does an editor start thinking about cinematography?
Very, very, very early on. Like, to me, it's really important. Like, it's rare when I'm involved into that. It's a shame, I think. But I think it's very, very important because, very quickly I can see like, oh, you want to do that big long shot? Okay, great. But does it help in the story? Like, or because you have that long shot, maybe you can sacrifice that setup, and that setup. Because if that long shot works, I'm going to save you 3 setup, which is like a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then sometimes I make mistake as well. But
yeah, I feel like that's something I've noticed to be a shame with a lot of the projects I've shot. Is whenever I talk shot listing, it's me and the director. It's always me and the director, and then the AD comes in to discuss logistics. But yeah, I feel like it would be such a different process if, when doing shot lists, obviously I believe a director should do the first shot list.
Oh yeah.
Because it's his vision, and then I come in to advise on what's possible, what's not possible, how to improve certain scenes or shots or whatever. But yeah, I think it would also help, especially, and I cannot emphasize this enough for like young filmmakers out there, is, get your editor involved soon as well, because like you said, especially someone like you with years of experience, you've seen it all. So you, to an extent, you've almost seen it all. So you know how to read and cut a scene, even just based on what you read on the page, probably. Like you can, in your head, you have an idea of how you're going to cut it. So to an extent, again, but I think, if you saw the shot list, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, I know I can cut, or oh, well, you guys are missing a shot here that would be really important. Yeah. And I feel like as a DP, often DPs have to learn editing because Definitely. We have to know what cuts and where we're missing coverage.
Definitely. And also like, because that happens on a project I have just finished. It's really understanding the eye line, and not how not to cross it, because like that's extremely, extremely important. Mm-hmm. Like if you're crossing it, please talk about it to your editor. Yeah. Because it's like, in the past 5 years, like on all the shows I watch, all the film I watch, I think like in the past 5 years I've saw like a big production crossing the eye line once, and only once, and it was with a purpose, and it worked. Sorry. But otherwise, like it's extremely important, because that's footage I can't use. If one person is looking that way to a person that should be looking that way, but you cross the line and the other person is looking the same way, it's like, when you edit, it's like, who are they talking to? Like, why aren't they looking at each other? Like, why? And it's, to me, that's really, really, really important. Mm-hmm. Like, that's one of the most important thing. Yeah. And like that's something I do. I did like few times, like I when I have a couple of hours, I just take like 2 things, like hot bottles, like hot sauce bottles, and I take a picture of the white, then I take a picture of one angle, a picture of the other angle, and just on my phone, I just flick between the pictures. Does it cut if I do like that? Or when you have 3 people, do it with 3, like establish your, your white, and then figure out where the lines is, because when you have 3 people, that can very quickly become very, very problematic. Mm-hmm. Like, and so it's, like nowadays you can do it with your phone, like just take 3 pieces of paper and do your shots, and then flick through the pictures, and you'll see, I should do it like that, or the lines between these 2 people is like that, so when I shoot the other person, I should shoot it on that side, not that side. And exercise, like, because that's costs absolutely nothing. Yeah. Takes you 20 minutes, to figure it out, and do it regularly, because that's also something very important. like for a DOP to understand when, for example, you're shooting a documentary and you're handheld, you know, you have two cameras. You know, like to understand very quickly, and also how to work with the other camera operator. You know, like that's the line, don't cross it. You know, and so like this, you can work together, and you don't even need to talk to each other to know where you should be standing.
Yeah.
You know, if he's doing the main like that, you have your two protagonists like this. Okay, well, I'm gonna take the close up that way or that way. I'm not gonna do it that way, because then I'm crossing the line. You know, and that's extremely important.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, we'll get into a few bits of it, but on obviously the first film we worked on together, that we had a lot of characters, and you know, it was very easy to cross the line because they were always sort of gathered in a circle, and you're having to move around. But just for context for the people, so Fred and I actually sort of met on my first feature film, which you edited, and then we went on to work, I think, on 5 projects together. I think so.
Probably. I hope more.
I hope more, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we did a feature and I think 4 or so short films, maybe even 5, so maybe 6 projects. But in particular, I think where I really learnt the importance of an editor as a DP was on that first feature. And it was, you know, I show up to set, and we were shooting abroad, and the camera kit and the lighting kit and the lens kit had all been bought. I didn't have a say on it. I didn't get to check the kit beforehand. And I arrive, and lens-wise, I'd already noticed the issue. It was sort of greens and magentas across the range because they'd kind of deteriorated over time and not been maintained. And you know, we were shooting on like Cook Speed Pancros, you know, which are technically good lenses, but not when they're poorly maintained. But I think it was I hadn't had the time to notice until the first night scene that we'd shot, which was on like a beach. It was a fire scene with all the cast by the beach. And I get a call that very night from you.
Yeah, next
and you're
morning.
like, Chris, please come to the to the room, to the editing room. And I show up, and you're like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, what's going on?
Like, what did you do with the night scenes? I'm like, what do you mean? And you show me, and it's noise everywhere.
I mean, at first I thought it was flies. Like the noise was like, I've never seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
Like, and it was just the sensor. Like it was a Red Epic.
Yeah.
With a Dragon sensor.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But the Dragon sensor was, because I looked on the metadata, the Dragon sensor was installed in that Red Epic in 2011. And that was in 2022.
Yeah. And it hadn't been maintained
at all.
The
it
camera
was
had been
just
sitting in
dead.
like a storage unit.
Yeah, and I remember going after talking to you, like we went to see your AC, and I asked, like, did you do did you recalibrate the blacks? You know, you put the cover and you do the setting and etc. And he said, yeah, I did. So I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that night, I think him and I took the camera and we literally shut every window, every door, and we sat in his hotel room and we tested any and every setting combination.
Yeah.
And we just handed it off to you. And I think even didn't matter where we sat with that camera, the noise was always there. So we kind of determined soon on that, or early on, that the camera was just gone, but we couldn't change it. No. So it was you and I had to not only find ways of calibrating there and then, you know, create LUTs for the lenses, create calibrations for the night scenes. But I think you and I even discussed of like how should I shoot to best help you in the edit.
Yeah, and if I remember, I asked you to lit more, because you can bring things down, but you can't really bring things up, like especially when it's nighttime. Yeah, I remember you had issues with that as well with the director.
Yeah, I mean, luckily the next shoot we did, we shot on my Sony Burano, which was brand new, dual ISO, everything. So that was great. But I think even on those smaller projects, I think from there on, I turned to you a lot of times, even before we started shooting, and just discuss what's the best way for me to shoot, what in terms of settings, in terms of setups, in terms of lighting, and obviously, I think that's where cinematography and editing kind of start mending. And
but like one thing we do together a lot also, it's on the shoot I'm the DIT. So like this, I'm always on set with you, and right away I'm like, Chris, careful there, Chris.
What was it? Was it on Black Time?
Yeah.
That I think you had mentioned, like there was one shot where I think there was too much red, or like I can't remember. I do remember you pulling me aside during the DIT at one point, saying like, Chris, you're either too under or
I think it was CTR. Your CTRs were like you went full instead of half or a quarter, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. I love going. Like, I really enjoy being on set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that helps a lot for sure.
Yeah.
If you can, I mean, obviously in the real world you'll have a DIT and an editor, but I think having an editor almost as a DIT is great. Even though
because right away, and most of the time the director, come to see me is like, okay, like, do you think we have enough coverage? Or because most of the time I'll be editing that project. And so I'm like, no problem.
And then obviously, I mean, these questions kind of go hand in hand, but coverage is really important. But what is it for you that makes a scene easy to edit?
Well, that's technically doesn't have anything to do with the DOP. It's all about the performance. Again, if there's a great chemistry with the actors, if there's a great chemistry with the actors, if they know their lines well, if their performance is great, to me that's an easy scene to edit.
Right.
Like, it helps, of course, if the DOP, set his shots perfectly, if the height of the eyes is perfect as well. That's fantastic. That really, really helps. But to me, it's not secondary. But to me, the most important, it's the performances. Because if, you can have the most beautifully shot scenes with all the coverage you want. If the actors, they don't know their line, they fluff their line, if they're not into it, to me, it's just pretty picture with an idiot in the middle of it.
Yeah. It's fine, don't worry.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's, while, you can save, like, if you have really, really great performance, like, but the focus is a little bit soft, I'll still put it in. You know what I mean? I prefer to sacrifice a soft focus, or maybe sometimes, like a light continuity error, but the performance is good. I prefer to have the performance than, everything perfect. Because if the performance is good, people are going to watch the performance.
Yeah.
If everything is perfect, but the performance is flat, to me, the scene is ruined. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And going from what makes it easy to edit to what makes it hard to edit, because I feel like, especially with a day and age where today's cameras are shooting higher resolutions, much heavier files, what's a common mistake that you see young DPs especially, but DPs maybe in general, make that affects editors so much?
Well, there's one that comes to mind right away. It's way too close shots. Close-ups that are way too close, because and that's why I really think a DOP really should do a bit of editing, or understand what editing is. Editing, it's a language. If you have a close-up that's way too close, you become personal. So as an editor, I would use that only at a very, very dramatic moment. I lost all my money. Oh my God, I won't be able to feed my kids for this week. What am I going to do? But if it's like, oh, I love that shade of blue eyeliner you have. To me, that means nothing. There's a language of editing. To me, like a close-up should be this. A mid should be this. And a lot of times, if I only have like extreme close-ups, to me, it's extremely annoying, because that's a tool I can't use.
Yeah.
It's to me, like a big close-up like that should be like very dramatic, like for a strong punctuation. Like, I'm gonna kill you. It has a purpose. While and that's like, I see that mistake all the time. And also, one thing like really to know, it's every shot that you shoot are gonna be reframed.
Yeah.
Every single shot. So if you already give me a shot that's way too tight, to reframe it, I need to zoom in, and then I get like an atrocity, you get from here to here.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I think it's a problem as well at for the past few years, it's everybody look at everything on their phone, and when you have a close-up on your phone, like a big dramatic close-up like that, it looks kind of okay. But as soon as you put it on a big screen or on a TV screen, it's like, boom, you feel assaulted. It's like, Jesus Christ, like, oh, yeah. I'm married, get off my face. Yeah. And to me, that's by far the biggest mistake at the moment. And the easiest solution for that, and that's what we did in the Aeronauts, like in that big production, it's every monitor, they zoom in 10 or 15% onto it. So like this you get, but I mean, that's also because of a technical issue we had. Oh. Well, it's not an issue. It's, we shot everything 8K. Mm-hmm. Everything that was spherical, we shot it 8K. Everything that was anamorphic, we shot it 5K. When you squeeze it, it becomes 8K. And that was mainly because of the lens vignetting, because we are full frame. And when you're full frame at 8K, the sensor, like, you have natural vignetting all over the place. So to compensate on that, we do a first zoom in at 10 or 15%. And all the monitor, all the viewfinders were zoomed in at 10 or 15%. So like this, because like I said, every single shot are reframed or stabilized. Stabilization, what it does, it zooms in and then moves the picture around. Yeah. You can't zoom out, and so that's why, like, having just that little trick, it's like, it will help a million.
So would you say you're an advocate for shooting on a high resolution? Because I feel like that's the biggest debate nowadays is sort of DP. Some DPs will go, well, I prefer shooting 8.6K full frame because then I can push in.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, people are like, well, it's a lot of information, but you're going to be exporting it in 2K or 4K anyways. So
yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, to me, it's just storage space. Mm-hmm. And most importantly, to me, it's going to save my butt later. You know what I mean? Because when you shoot, like 6K or 8K, please do like on your monitors, do a 15 or even 20%, doesn't matter. And talk about it, with your with your DIT, with your editor, with your colorist, because just like you just mentioned, it's the end products. It's gonna be HD. You're lucky if you're gonna have something exported and sold, at 4K even to Netflix. You know what I mean? So always do that, because like this at the editing point, because I mean that's what I did on a project like last year or so, and the DOP did that, and me when I import it in DaVinci Resolve, I can you have a input sizing. I just created a preset, and then every time I import, or my assistant imports a bin or a new scene, just select everything, right click, sizing, boom, preset, and you're done. I don't have to think about it, and I see what is intended. But with that resizing preset, when I reframe and it gets closer, I can zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I can get the shot you wanted.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like, obviously, when you make these, major decisions with the frame, because at the end of the day, as soon as it comes into your lap, you've got control of what that frame is going to look like. But do you get the DP involved before you do? You like sort of talk to them before you do those decisions, or you kind of go, well, I know this is better for the story, or I know the DP had shot for medium and he wanted medium, but the close-up works better, but it's not going to, then I'm affecting his work, because at the end of the day, that's not what he was intending to shoot. But then what's that conversation like?
Usually that's a conversation between the producer, the director, and the DOP. I'm usually not involved.
Right.
Yeah.
But you would relay to a director, producer, and say, look,
usually I do it with the director.
Mm-hmm.
So usually it's a conversation I have with the director, so that becomes his responsibility.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And
But if it's bad or ugly, I would tend to send a little message, dude, wear sunglasses when you see that cut because you're gonna cry. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you receive the footage, obviously, what's the first thing you notice? Is it, is it the way it's lit, the movement? Is it the way it's shot, or is it just actor performances straight away? Or what's the first sort of point?
When I edit, the first thing I look at is actor performances. Then, while I look at because I work for the story, I'm there only for the story, and while I watch the performance, right away, of course, I notice, that's focus is soft, or there's a light stand on here, or the opposite, oh my God, that's amazing, and like right away I put like a green label, use that. Yeah, like, of course, like unless it really pops, the first thing I look at, it's always the performance. Always. Because that's what I need, It's a bonus if I have great performance and it looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. But, like, I'm sorry, but...
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've touched on digital, but what about when you work on a project that's film related? So 35/16, obviously, I feel like there's a little less control in the post, I'd assume, or
there's none.
Oh,
yeah, what you shot is what you get. Yeah.
So is your approach any different when you're working with film, or?
Not really. No, I still concentrate on the performance and performance and focus.
Right.
Like, because yeah. But I mean, like, film.
Yeah. An editor's worst nightmare?
No.
Right.
No. I love it, but it doesn't come around very often.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like,
we on the projects that we've shot, I've not had the chance to shoot film yet. I mean, Is there anything from the projects that we worked on? I mean, we did, as I said, we did the feature, the Lionsgate feature. We did my short film Take. We did Devil in Detail, Black Time, Sophie's Death, which should be coming out soon, I think. When, I don't know. Or it's come out. I'm not really sure where that project is.
Been out a while.
Has it been out a while? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
And but was there anything you noticed from there that maybe I could have done differently as a DP when it came to working with you?
No, not really, because like I mentioned earlier, I'm on set doing the DIT. So every time I see things I like or don't like, I go straight up to you and tell you right there on the spot.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so no, like, no.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
But you know, and I don't want to keep overshadowing with this idea of like DOPs making mistakes, even though we do make mistakes. But I think as an editor, a bit like a color grader, I think when we as DPs know that we've really screwed up, you know, we just pray to God that you as an editor can save it. Yeah. And a color grader can also sort of work their magic. But how I think it's a vice versa thing. How does a DP protect you as an editor, and how do you protect a DP in the edit?
Communication. Communication, like, and it's maybe it's because I understand your work, you know, because I have some knowledge into it, and that's why I think that it makes me a better editor. You know, we more or less talk the same language. Like, you know, I can come up straight to you and say, like you just mentioned, you know, your CTRs, they're way over the place, you know, like, and we speak the same language.
Yeah.
So it's all about communication. Like, you know, like, for example, on sounds, in quite a lot of projects, you know, I look at the dailies and I listen, and there's some radio mics, they don't have a shield on them, so they really crunch, like they're really like, so I can't choose that. So right away I can I identify that. I go straight away to see the sound recordist, and I tell him the problem is like, oh really, I didn't notice, and etc. Okay, so I'll prioritize on the boom, you know, for also on, or you know, like it happens many times, like the guy was wearing a very, very thin shirt, and the only place he could put the radio mic was like at a very bad place, and the shirt was so thin that he couldn't put he couldn't put any pop shield or any fluff on it. And so, you know, like right away, you know, I can tell them, you know, like, you have this problem, so do something about it. Not do something, but be aware, you know, this is happening. Yeah.
What about, you know, continuing on this is, do you try and protect the DPs with grading? Because I know you sometimes do a bit of grading as well. I think as an editor, you're a bit of a you understand the whole scope of post-production. So from, like you said, the sound, the edit, but also the grading. Do you, if you notice that cinematography is not quite 100%, do you ever try and sort of salvage a little bit in a lot, so that when you show the director, you kind of go, look, it's not as bad as as it is, you know, we can save it, kind of thing, you know? Well,
I can learn that very example. I learned it more or less the hard way. It's I was editing a feature film, and the DIT we had wasn't that great at all. Like, it just slapped lots into it, and next put it on a drive, send us the drive. And so I edited one scene, and the scene was really dark. But, you know, I knew, like, you know, they were shooting that with a red camera. No, it was an Alexa. They were shooting that on an Alexa with good lens. I knew you could salvage, like, a lot. because on the metadata I can see the ISO, or I can see the temperature and all that. Yeah, I look a lot at the metadata always, because I know what can be salvaged or not. So I didn't pay much attention to it. I was like, oh yeah, it's dark.
Yeah.
So I cut the scene, showed it to the director. The director nearly fired the DOP on spot.
Wow.
Yeah, and but luckily, like, the director called me when, like, what's going on? Like, it's way too dark, can't see anything. Like, is everything shot that way? And I said, yeah, but that's, and the director hung up, and so I just stood off my chair, ran to the production room where they were discussing. I was like, no, like, it's fine. It's just the LUT that was applied was was bad. It was just a bad LUT. And, I can, like, give me 10 minutes. I'm going to get one take of the raw footage, and I'm going to show you what it really is, and etc. So I quickly did that. And once the director saw that, everything is fine, it's just the LUT was way too dark, he went, oh, okay. And so, I was really, really happy of that, being able to literally save that DOP's job.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right there and then, because big execs and etc., all they understand is money. It's like, I spent £200,000 yesterday on that, and what I'm getting, it's way underexposed and etc. It looks terrible. Somebody needs to get fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why, like, I was really, really happy to help that day, and also to see an error, and to be able to defend a DOP.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and he was actually a really, really good DOP. Like, he's Australian, but he worked for like 20 years in Hong Kong, in Hong Kong movies. So everything that was fight related, like, I've never seen anyone like him. Like, he was so good, like, so good. Yeah. So that's why I was really, really, really happy that, I saved him that day. And since then, now I always keep a very close eye to the DIT, and now like the technology is so amazing that as an editor, but that's because of my DIT background and also color grading, I personally prefer to get the footage flat, without a LUT. And I just apply, like, I make a LUT per scene, and I just apply it. I put it as an input LUT, forget about it. And then after, like, because I know that, you want that darker? Great. I create a new LUT, apply it to that scene, and sort it, and it looks better. Yeah.
And what do you think, so in that scope, what do you think young DOPs might misunderstand about editors? Like,
well, the most obvious would be, he cut my shots. Like, to me, that's the most obvious.
Yeah.
If we, like, I don't enjoy cutting good shots.
Yeah.
It's but as I said, if it doesn't serve the story, it's gonna get on my floor.
And probably, I'm assuming also vice versa. If a DP hasn't done his job well, he expects you to perform magic when there's only so much magic you can do,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I gave him like 4 hours of footage. Yeah, but none of it was in focus. You were shooting right in front of the lights. You can see things. You can see that. Your movement, it's like, how many coffees did you have that day?
Yeah.
It's... Yeah.
Well, on a final note, what advice would you give young filmmakers out there when it comes to DPs or to young DOPs working with editors?
Learn more than just using a camera and how to use a camera, lenses, and etc. Learn what's like I said, what the editing language
Mm-hmm.
language is. Learn about nearly all departments. Hair and makeup. For example, know that certain foundations not gonna work well with some kind of lights. It's gonna be way too shiny. It's like, why is it shiny? Oh, because you use that. Learn about the wardrobe department. That synthetic things, that's gonna be very bad. Like the pattern is way too small, so you're gonna get a moire. Like learn as much as you can about everything else. Like, for example, sounds. Is extremely important. It's not something to neglect. Yes, like in big production, 80% of the sound recorded on set is going to be replaced.
Yeah.
But it's very important because we can't cut without the sound. It's like, that's old BBC thing. Like the BBC has that standard that when they broadcast live, if they lose picture but they still have sound, they keep going. If you lose sound but you still have picture, you cut program, because you can't follow without, you can't follow what's going on if you don't have the story.
Right.
And again, the most important is the story.
I would also, another piece of advice I would give young filmmakers, which I really learned to appreciate through working with you, is you helped me with my fight scenes, because I remember when we shot the take, it was the first time I was shooting fight sequences, and I always thought, you got to shoot tighter so that people feel like they're being thrown around, like they're in the fight scene and blah blah. And I remember when I handed it over to you to edit, you were like, Chris, this is way too close. This is people are so confused as to what's going on. And you told me, like, you got to shoot wider, wide or medium. Closest should ever be is a medium.
Unless, again, if you have very punctual, like a big close-up,
exactly.
For that, that's perfect.
Yeah.
We need that. But that's the only time you can use it.
Yeah.
It's understanding the geography. Because as an editor, that's something I'm going to be working a lot on. It's understanding where everybody is, the geography of the scene, where does that guy come from? You need to understand the geography, like that car parked here and the door opens, so that's where that guy is coming out from. You know what I mean? It's really understanding the geography of things. And And
then to this day, now, I remember because we edited the take in, I would like to say August or September of 22.
Yes.
And I then got my second feature film in November of 22 in Turkey. And I'd read the script, but we got to a scene where the director wanted really a full fight scene in the water. And I literally thought back to what you said. So I shot that whole fight sequence sort of, it wasn't like a action fight sequence. It was more like an argument where the guy throws himself at the guy's neck and tries to like drown him in the water, whatever. And I shot it all much wider, and people were like, that was amazing. And I was like, that's all Fred.
Yeah. Because you understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and it's, again, that's DoP from Hong Kong. He taught me that. Like when we were talking about it. And one day he told me, Fred, what's the difference between shooting an action film or a musical? I was like, in a style? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, a musical, you should do things more like that, and etc. He went, there's no difference. You shoot it exactly the same way. You don't get too close. You know what I mean?
That's good. Yeah.
And like that's how I learned it. And that was amazing. Yeah.
So listen to your editors.
Yeah.
Well,
or listen to your DOPs.
And vice versa, absolutely. And then just to close out, I think what can we expect of you? What's coming up? Anything exciting that you can let the world know of what's coming from Fred Fournier? or
that
no?
much.
Can't speak.
No. I've literally just finished a documentary, a big documentary, which is great. Yeah, it's a subject I totally nothing to do with what I usually do, but it's looking good.
Coming out soon, or
Well, we're waiting on the final mix next week. I actually did the color grade on it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot. Like nowadays, the new tools. Oh my god, like it's amazing. Yeah, like it's really, really, really properly good. Yeah. Apart from that, not much. I do. Well, at the moment, I'm doing quite a bit of animation stuff. I really, really like that. Like 3D compositing and compositing as well, which really helped me on the grades on that. Because, for example, because there was really a lot of talking heads in that documentary. And so what I did in the grades, which I think really, really helps, it's I changed the mood in relations to the mood of the interviewee. Like, when she's sad, I go on the cooler temperatures and etc. Or when she becomes like more, oh yeah, and then I did this and then I did that, because she was shot next to a window, which is not ideal, but shot next to a window, like when she gets more excited or happier, I put a little bloom on the window, so it's like the sun comes out, I bring up the temperature, and it's little detail like that. Yeah, I'm really proud of that. Yeah, but again, like that's something I didn't really discuss with the DoP about, but
right.
Yeah.
And what's the documentary called?
Manifest it.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you for coming on. It was a great chat.
Always a
and
pleasure.
yeah, absolutely. Till the next one. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.